Hi everybody, I'm Sophie Brigstock from Nurturing Birth.
And I'm Florence Etienne-Jackson.
And we're both birth and postnatal doulas. And Nurturing Birth is as a company providing doula training internationally, as well as mentoring and a directory for parents to find support through their pregnancies, birth and postnatal periods. And today, me have asked us to discuss the idea of women of advanced maternal age. So, Flo, have you got any thoughts on the subject?
Well, advanced maternal age seems to be any woman becoming pregnant after the age of 35. Which I was certainly one of them. Yes, I'm still okay. I'm still here, and nothing specifically dreadful happened. But I think, yes, there are few issues that seem to be coming up when somebody's pregnant after the age of 35 that we might want to consider. Kind of talking about today, really. There are some society's views, issues, and probably, a few medical attitudes as well that we need to kind of explore as doulas when we support women, mainly.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's on the increase, the number of there's another term which I loathe, geriatric pregnancies. I think there's been like a doubling of numbers in the last 5 to 10 years. So women are coming into pregnancy much later for a variety of reasons. Yeah. One of the things that I experience quite a lot is women who have been through fertility treatment. And of course that brings a whole extra load of things to consider when you're working with them as a doula.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think that the treatment itself is very similar, for most women who having, there are various treatments that we know of, but also the age at which the woman starts fertility treatment can have an effect, obviously, on her expectations, because knowing that she needs fertility treatment at the age of 25 for whatever reason it is, may kind of look towards the future with a bit more relaxed, thinking she's got more time. But somebody starting fertility treatment at the age of 38 or 40 knows that there is a smaller window of opportunity there, so it just creates extra anxiety, for which doulas are very important in that sense, at supporting women around their anxiety and the prospect of becoming pregnant through fertility treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of an increased pressure and tension, isn't there?
Absolutely.
But that's just one aspect. I mean, people are coming into pregnancy later for all sorts of different reasons: financial, emotional, for career reasons, for just not finding love until a bit later on.
Having had a first relationship and then moving on to a second relationship, and maybe it's not as easy as it was the first time, or an array of reasons why women just get pregnant later, and by choice, because there are a lot more opportunity maybe nowadays for women to engage in career, to engage in involvement and volunteering, all sorts of things that women decide to do before they kind of dedicate their time to a baby, pregnancy and babies.
Yeah. So what are the greatest challenges then facing a woman, let's say a 40-plus-year-old woman in pregnancy and heading towards birth? What's she faced with?
Probably society's idea about becoming pregnant after the age of 40. I think if her environment is include lots of her friends who've had children much earlier on in life, maybe just after university, or just simply by choice got good relationship and had their babies earlier, she might be the odd one out. Or the other way around. It may be that actually all her friends have had children later on in life and they support each other, and so depending on what her environment is like, she may be them kind of judgment a little bit.
Yeah. One thing I've heard quite a lot from my clients is that they go to see their obstetricians, and despite being, incredibly healthy women, that they are told categorically that their placenta will fail at 40 weeks gestation, and that therefore they need to be induced to bring these babies out early. But there seems to be very little research-based evidence to support this as true. So that's a real challenge.
I think I do agree with you. I think, you and I do spend quite a lot of time looking at the evidence behind treatment and care in maternity. And it is very difficult to find really good, big samples, evidence on the subject. I think what's important to remember is if somebody, as we get older, we are more likely to be exposed to problems, health problems such as high blood pressure and cardiovascular diseases and so on, which is not related to the pregnancy itself. So a healthy 40-year-old woman should be entering a healthy pregnancy.
Yeah.
Fertility treatment in itself is not an issue in pregnancy. A lot of the time it's just simply an issue of getting pregnant, and then the pregnancy can carry on just as normal like any other pregnancy. So sometimes there are issues around women having been medicalized from the day of conception, where they find it a bit difficult to actually relax and follow their instinct and think that they are just, like anybody else, just pregnant.
Yeah, it seems that they are automatically categorized as high risk, even if, the pregnancy is really straightforward, that there are no underlying medical concerns, that she's eating a good diet, exercising, all of the kind of things that we recommend that any pregnant woman do. But she's labelled with this, you are, advanced maternal age, and therefore you've got to be high risk. You've got to go down a certain route for your birth, and I think that's really challenging.
It is, and I think as doulas, we encourage women to kind of look at the evidence and to say, asking more questions and finding out what is actually relevant to them as a person, not as a group of people, but to them as a person, as an individual.
Absolutely.
Time, the answers are not the answers are not there. It's just maybe an anxiety of society in general about later pregnancy. It would be nice to have much more solid evidence to back these things up, but it's not out there, unfortunately. So we deal with lots of anxiety more than health related problems, actually.
Yes. So from a doula perspective, we are going to treat any woman the same way, in that we respect her as an individual and her choices, and that we're going to provide emotional, practical and information support so she can make those choices. So that's the birth side of things. But what about postnatally? What about after the birth and the challenges that may come up around those first few weeks?
Well, I think it's the same thing, isn't it? If she's healthy, if she has energy, if she looks after herself, if she eats well, if she exercises, then it'll be okay. But if she's already, on the decline in that sense, that her health is not great and she's not exercising as much, and her nutrition is not as good as it could be, then obviously she's going to find it more difficult. And we know that the body recovers not as quickly as it does when we're 25. That's aging. That's a normal process. We're still not at the end.
Tell me about it. Yeah.
So to be a bit prepared, and maybe if they do have the opportunity to prepare their body and also that mentally to be prepared to have a baby who suddenly will kind of take all their attention. And not forget that obviously because of the increase of IVF treatment in this group of people, not just one baby but two.
Yes, often twins, isn't it? Or multiples, yeah.
Absolutely. So considering what's going to happen in the future, entering the pregnancy with the idea that looking after herself is probably at the center of everything.
Mm,
And then when the baby comes, it should be a bit easier. But we would probably, tell anyone to do that anyway, no matter what.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting with that particular group of women for first time mothers, in that they have established a lifestyle for themselves, have a really strong sense of who they are and the way in which they live their lives, and having a baby in the mix can be almost more challenging,
terrifying,
at that stage. Yeah, and particularly if you don't have other friends going through it at the same time. So I mean, I think that's where postnatal doulas are incredibly valuable in helping a new mum, a new couple to learn what it is to have this new bundle or bundles at home, and how to adapt your life to that, because life may have become quite set in its way.
Yeah, I mean, at the age of 40, I think most women would agree that we kind of sorted a little bit. We've done the things we wanted to do. Hopefully, there's a lot more to do, but the going out and the all these things like that may have been taken care of, and it's more of a cruising kind of attitude then. And then suddenly, this is all kind of pulled apart by a little being who have their own needs, their own agenda, their own time scale, and it can be quite difficult to adapt to this kind of not chaotic life, but certainly a life that is not a routine life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's certainly a lot of the women I work with have held down really impressive careers, and going from a lifestyle where they're up at crazy early in the morning and in an office and meetings and spreadsheets and secretaries and to being at home without this fixed agenda. And I think some women really struggle with that a bit.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, babies are not born reading diaries and reading agendas. They have their own.
Certainly haven't read the books that we read in preparation for their arrival.
Absolutely, it's all intuition and instinct. So it can be difficult to adapt to that. But with good support, it's not a big task. It's really sometimes unlearning things and be prepared to be much more flexible, being prepared to tap into the instinct again. I mean, I think, but sometimes we refrain from doing things instinctively, and parenthood is definitely one of them, which is great when we can think, okay, what do I feel like doing now? Maybe
what's my gut tell me?
And stop reading too many books and and then just kind of going back to what the heart says. Yeah, I mean, as doulas, we're not dishing out advice. We're not giving any methods out. We're just there to encourage women to tap into their instinct and to feel empowered. But, it's all about trial and error, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but also to be able to signpost relevant information. So, certainly when you've got a brand new baby or babies, a book can feel like the most overwhelming thing in the world. I mean, when did you last sit down and manage to read a book when you've got kids and babies? You don't, and most people hit Dr. Google. And as we know, the internet is flooded with all sorts of parenting advice and websites, and some great, some truly dire. So having somebody like a doula who can signpost, really good evidence-based websites, specific research to help you kind of find your way, I think is really invaluable.
Absolutely. And I think what we need to also remember is that we need to remember to have fun. And then there are some really, really wonderful times, with babies. And there are, time that people look back laughing and thinking, oh, this was a very difficult time in our lives. But look what happened. Look what this little bundle of joy has developed into, a really healthy human being with their own ideas. And I think we kind of sometimes bury all of that and all the difficulties of becoming a parent, but there's far more easy and joyful time, then there are difficult times as a parent, obviously, as long as everybody's happy and healthy. So yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, we should probably wrap up, but if you want to get in touch with us and find out more about what we do, then do contact us on info@nurturingbirth.co.uk. If you're looking for a doula or for support through your pregnancy, birth and those first precious few weeks, then do go to nurturingbirthdirectory.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Thank you.